came to get some wood. Okay, get the sign. Come back around there. What you got? Chocolate chip. Don't hot. Just for you. Appreciate you, baby. Be safe.
Hey, we're gonna shoot a fucking gun today. That's gonna be fucking sweet. Check this fucking shit out. Oh shit, I dropped the gun. But this thing is huge, man. I can't handle it. Okay, here it goes. I'm gonna shoot the target. How the fuck do I work this thing?
Yo, what's happening, world? Name's Raheem Flowers. And, you know, Dr. Umar once said, the illustrious Dr. Umar Johnson once said, that all these young brothers out here in the community who are in the streets, gang banging, slanging, guess who they are? They are the warriors of the community. Well, I suppose that must be mean that there's a lot of misdirected energy going on, or I'm misunderstanding something. Because guess what happened to a brother named Adolf, aka Young Dolph? He was murdered. He was murdered not too long ago. About a week ago now or something, if I got that right. And he wasn't murdered by no white cop, or even by any white person for that matter. Guess who he was murdered by? Another man that looked just like him. And yet, you have Black Lives Matter who will get on these podiums when they hear incidences like a situation pertaining to a Sandra Bland or a Freddie Gray or anybody who is this law enforcer. What I don't get is this, and I get it. We all know that a lot of these cops abuse, exercise their power. Growing up here in Chicago, I've witnessed and experienced these things myself, so I'm not on the outside looking in. I've seen these little niggas cause way more terror though. Well, the police, you notice one thing? If you live in the hood, or you know people that live in the hood, one thing you're gonna know is this. Those cops will take their sweet time going to areas like, for example, going to the south side of Chicago or going to the west side of Chicago. Guess what's you're gonna have a tough time getting a cop to come in under 15 minutes. But I suppose the warriors and the guardians, like the ones who killed Adolf, should be the ones protecting us, right? Wrong. And every one of you niggas on YouTube who run your mouth talking about how these racist individuals, these racist cops, and y'all talking about how white supremacy is the thing that holds strangle on black people. No, the fuck it isn't. Because let me tell you something. Wasn't a cop, wasn't a white person that killed XXX Tentacion. No, and he wasn't no hood nigga. So you could already omit that notion out your head. Who else? Pop Smoke did not get smoked by no white man, by no racist white police officer or law enforcer. No, it's by another Negro, Pop Smoke. King Von was not killed. And we could go through the whole catalog of drill rappers like Little Mouse or Little JoJo and Shaquan Thomas, Young Pappy. Or we could also talk about, Young Dolph. None of these people. See, I saw a recent video with Suburban Whiny Pete, the one they call Sergeant Willie Pete. And he was talking about how there's this completely different dynamic within the Nation of Islam when he talks about how these Boys are acting rambunctious. They're acting just like any other hood niglet. But if you knew anything about the Nation of Islam, you would know that all these dudes in the FOI, the NOI, always took in these little nigglets on the streets. They've been doing that. Pre-Malcolm and post-Malcolm, or El Malik Shabazz. So that ain't nothing new. But here is the fundamental difference. These little hood domestic terrorists, these delinquents, hooligans, whatever the F you want to call them. You know what dynamic they have? The single mother epidemic. And I'm calling it an epidemic because it's being encouraged to be that way. That you don't need a man, you don't need nothing but God. Why don't you just go ahead and just listen to a Ricky Smiley video? Why don't you go listen to a Hassan Campbell video? See, I don't even understand how you as a grown man can let another person, and especially one of these little, and yo, I'm gonna keep it real, especially one of these little hood rat women like FBG Duck's mother. You let this woman, y'all let her just run her mouth. I mean, see, Tommy had his back and forth with her. Duck made comments about her because she made comments about him, and that whole ping pong back and forth. Look, isn't that living proof? Like, all these dudes do, see, they'll sit here and put up a front. They'll get tough for the tube. They'll get tough for YouTube, getting paid off of a white an entity that is built off of a so-called white person's foundation. So anybody who goes around making videos back to back and saying that they don't get paid off of no white man is fucking lying. You get paid by a white man by default. Because who else is paying you? You can't just say it's the community paying you. These poor righteous teacher niggas out here who run their mouth. Look, a person like me and other brothers out there who I respect, our job is not here to problem solve for you. We're just here to give you insight, perspective, and hopefully we can synergize with each other. Not sit here. I'm not here to sit and try to figure out every issue going on within the so-called black community. I'm not Captain Planet. I'm not here to save anybody. You could only save yourself. Nas said it best on a song called Black Zombies. Fuck black leaders, because whites ain't got none leading them. There's always this specific entity. There's always this, really a scapegoat if we really want to keep it real, because niggas don't ever want to be held accountable for nothing. One of the best ways you can solve most of the problems in your life is taking accountability for the choices that you make. Even if it's not directly a choice that you made, your choice or the path that you found yourself on is a byproduct of another person's choice, an extension of another person's choice, i.e. your mama, who's getting pregnant by these do-nothing thug-ass niggas, the same ones who murked young Dolph. I mean, where do you get off murdering somebody when they went out to go buy some baked cookies? He wasn't out in no club in Memphis just hanging out with some niggas, getting drunk, getting high, shooting dice, getting turned up, and hanging around a bunch of thoughts. No. The brother got some cookies. Like I said, and what many brothers said, the main issue in the so-called black community is other black people, and especially black people who co-opt movements. They do the same shit. Black Lives Matter and the civil rights movements are just like each other, damn right, and it's not a motherfucking compliment. You have, guess who discovered Black Lives Matter? It was a bunch of lesbian women. And guess who funded it? Small hats. Guess who discovered NAACP? It was a so-called mulatto, just like that Sambo, W.E.D. Du Bois, and he had small hats in his camp. But a lot of people don't want to look at the parallels. They don't want to look at the patterns. They don't, and then wonder why this paradigm keeps being perpetuated. It gets prolonged, gets extended, because ain't nobody trying to break the cycle. Nobody wants to learn about history. Nobody wants to actually do their due diligence, their research. No critical thinking. This is why the world is the way it is. Lack of accountability, rugged individualism, and lack of empathy. That's one thing I could agree with Sarge on. Rugged individualism. But this is where he's flawed. He don't like the idea of accountability, because what the so-called black community's issues goes beyond mere accountability and has everything to do with white supremacy, or everything else is really an extension of it. Look, we deserve everything we got coming to us, though. We deserve everything as so-called black people. We deserve hip-hop being in the condition in by allowing somebody like Vlad, by allowing academics, by allowing dudes like Charlemagne the Sambo to co-opt these movements. Like, we deserve all this shit. We really do. We deserve it when we have Black Lives Matter, a group of 3 women who are out here talking about they want to remove the nucleus family. They want to remove that family unit. And they have said this openly. And they even had it on their own page. They had a whole admission for it. And yet we still support a movement like that. Public record, public information. We deserve it when you listen to a fool like Tariq Nasheed, who will go on and yap about the system of white supremacy, and what's the same thing he does? He marries a biracial woman, a so-called mulatto woman, and he also lives in a vicinity filled with white people. And we buy and we fund his stuff, and it's not going to no black dollars or any black community of any sort, because there has to be some sort of structure. There has to be some sort of synergy and unification. There has to be a level of consistency. There has to be some sort of system in place. But where does that exist? It doesn't exist, because you have talented 10 niggas like Sergeant Willie Pete. You have these little boule, bougie-minded niggas who think that college is the answer for everything. It's the end-all, be-all to success. I'm not knocking brothers who've been to college. What I'm saying is that shouldn't be something that you drill in people's heads as if that's the only way to achieve success, when you have so many people who are just largely in debt and they still can't even find the job that they originally were going to school for and pursuing. Unless you're into the medical fields, unless you're doing something like engineering, computer science, things of that nature, or if you're really good at it, like criminal justice, and that's if you're really good at it, like criminal justice and things of that nature. But I don't know too many people who are into any of those fields. Anywho, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like, yeah, this is it. This is the new black movement. This is the new black power. Because you hear bullshit like black girl magic, black girls rock. Or you see these dudes out here who will be poor righteous teachers and will be a bunch of male feminists and not even understand that these group of people don't give a fuck about you. They don't even give a fuck about the women in the community, i.e. black women. And you still will allow these bitches like Michelle Wallace to co-opt your whole movements or whatever you believe to be your movements, or whatever cause that you're fighting for. Because guess what? Most of you niggas don't even own. You harbor feelings that you don't even own. That's what you do. And honestly, you just gotta sit back and be like, you know what? Maybe we don't take the route of an Isaac Hayes or a Tristan Walker. And maybe we should not be trying to put on some billboard or poster that we're doing some sort of black-owned business. Because to be honest, that is what always makes everybody, and even especially black people, skeptical and not even want to deal with you. Why don't you just create your own? Why don't we just create our own businesses and just do us and have it where it's predominantly the prevalence is black people, but we don't try to advertise it as a black-owned business. It's all about being tactful. That's what I'm saying. And I've been hearing about O'Shea Duke Jackson getting chewed up, a nigga who claimed to be a doctor, but he has way too much ample time on his hands to be making YouTube videos that have nothing to do with the medical field. It has nothing to do with what could be going on with Big Rona. It has nothing to do with all these shots or speaking on anti-vaxxers or pro-vaxxers. But you believe a dude who would entertain a bitch like Crystalline Karazine to be somebody of sharpness, when anybody with common sense would never fuck with Crystalline Karazine. Anybody who knows her background wouldn't do any sort of collaboration. So yes, I said what I said. I don't need to be indirect or passive aggressive. Man, y'all try to take away brothers who actually want to make something of themselves and who have something going for themselves. I'm not a fan, and I do not support interracial relationships and dating by no means. But when you put things in perspective and full context, it makes sense why a lot of brothers steer away from these sisters. There's just too much baggage that comes with y'all. See, the modern woman ain't shit. Especially a lot of y'all black women, but the modern woman, period, just ain't shit. All this westernized values. Babylon will fall. Yes, it will. And it's gonna start with so-called black people until there's a switch and there's just a realization that you gotta let that sink ship. You gotta let that ship sink. I said that so backwards, but you get what I'm saying. I think I'm gonna say that for now. Peace out.